there's
everybody
so many
space.
different people that are going through similar things from different platforms. And I mean, we even just saw her from the Simone Biles documentary. Like, she experienced the same kind of hate.
Literally.
And it's just like, can we just all like tap into the nonsense? Like,
Truly.
it's crazy. Like, can we, because it really needs to be adjusted.
Virtual reality. Charity Lawson and Kat Izzo, we are so excited to be chatting with you, especially because y'all got a little new project in the works. A whole podcast is coming out.
Correct.
Tell us about that. What's it called? What's it about? Like, what are we in for?
Yeah, it's called Tap In.
Okay, sweetie.
Tap In, truly.
Yes.
And we're really excited about it.
It's going to be about a variety of things mostly, but centered around women empowerment, enlightening, connection. We both went through our own individual experiences with our two shows and journeys on reality TV, but it opened up our eyes to a lot of things I think that's going on in society and things that I think just needs the space to be talking about. And a lot of people have always said that we actually just need to do a podcast in general because of our personalities.
Correct.
So why not do it for a good reason?
Just from talking to you guys for the few minutes now, like I could listen to you guys for hours. So I'm glad you're starting the podcast, and I feel
confirmation.
I have something like you'll start at one topic, and then we're just gonna bounce all around, and you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, how did we get here? Do you guys ever want to like start to interview people on it? Do you want to just
Yes.
go back
Yes.
to interview too? Okay,
Yeah.
so you want guests, yeah.
Yes,
Right.
Or is there a
so
dream
it'll
roster?
start off like with us, but definitely we have our guest lineup queued up. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be really good. Like
Yeah.
really good.
Are there some dream people on the list?
A few?
Yeah, we
yeah.
have a few.
Actually, I think
Yeah.
it might be like surprising, but in
Yeah.
a good way.
We just want to give them a space to like feel understood, connected, because we are obviously coming from a place of similarities, whether that's from a reality TV standpoint or if it's like athletes, influencers. We all kind of experience the same thing in some ways. But through that, I feel like a lot of people get misunderstood. So I think this is going to be really fun and exciting, keeping it light, but also like real.
Yeah. What are some topics you're looking forward to unpacking?
Yeah. Well, I can obviously start off with this one because it's pretty like straightforward. I think, like Kat said, like we obviously come from the reality TV space and have very unique experiences, different experiences, but I think it was similar in like just the treatment from like social media. So definitely like that's like a big topic. But then also for me, like being a woman of color in this like space and industry, it has been so tricky to just like navigate and like kind of find my like footing and being grounded in it. And so that's definitely something that I want to highlight. I also want to give other like women of color a platform, a space to like talk about their experiences, because I think a lot of people don't know that. They probably assume or think they have full knowledge, but like just actually going through it, it's totally different.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's one of them.
I feel kind of like to that point too. A lot of times when people are on reality TV or signing themselves up for things, people are like, oh, trolls come with the territory. But there's a difference between just being like, you're boring or something,
Correct.
and like threats and things
Correct.
that can mentally
Correct.
harm you and get things from
Correct.
that. So touching on that, I'm sure, is also probably very powerful for you to be able to take back that narrative to kind of discuss it.
Absolutely.
And I think it's like time that we take our power back, because I feel like being women in general, men experience it too, but we kind of have it from a different place, I would say. And I really experienced that when I went through my last show with Paradise. And, you know, it's just, we need to be able to not be pushed back down, because that's kind of like what it is that's wanted. And I think maybe more awareness that comes from it, they can help, like, I don't know, people that want to go in the comment section, like maybe think about it for a second.
we all need to take a break. Truly.
And we all get so misunderstood because we just see the person from the screen.
Yeah.
And like, let's just like realize that that's like, there's so many other layers to human beings in general. Not to say that there's not bad people out there, but like, it's just not that serious.
Yeah.
Like, let's have fun. Like, let's be real. And I'll tell you something, I learned a lot about relationships by doing this. So I would love to give, we will be giving relationships.
pure dating,
Dating, like
advice.
hot
Yes.
takes, like cold takes, whatever. Like, you're gonna hear it. I do not care, because nobody wants to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I've kind of done my whole like healing journey in that, and I'm ready to like speak on how that affects everyday life.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Well,
everything.
We're
gonna
excited to
dabble.
hear about that. But going back a little bit, Charity,
Yeah.
you were mentioning how being a woman of color leading this franchise, it's a different experience. When you decided to take on the role and you entered the franchise as the lead, we had Rachel Lindsay and we had Tasha Adams. How would you describe the climate when you entered the world leading the Bachelorette as a woman of color? Do you think that they had done work that made it easier for you, or did you feel like any changes had been made?
I felt like there was like a little bit of change, and I think for me and just like my personality of who I am, I definitely did go into the entire process, I think, a little naive of like probably what I was like capable of like achieving in this franchise. It's so much bigger than just me, but I was like, oh, like, you know, I'm gonna advocate for all these things and like see how much like my voice holds power in this space. But I think it goes to show, like, I had a obviously quite successful season in terms of like finding love, but there was also all these other layers that I got to see after the fact, and that was really like disheartening. And so yeah, I think there was like a little bit of effort in terms of like doing enough to just say like they're checking off a box, but not enough in the long term, in the longevity of like obviously contestants that are coming behind me, or the leads that are coming behind me. So I mean, obviously we see it just now with Jen and her entire experience of what she went through. Completely inexcusable. And like, no way.
The layers you were talking about, kind of how they were missing the mark in moments. Did you feel that from watching your season back, and kind of just, or how they like package things and handle things, or like where were you kind of like, what were some moments that you
just
were
really... like, I mean, even behind the scenes, I can give you an example. It's like, obviously being a woman of color, like my final destination was in Fiji, and one of the things that I had to tell like the producers, I was like, I can't go to this like climate and like not have like my hair like taking, like, hair as a black woman like is completely different than like someone like Kat. So it's like I need to have my hair in braids, or I need to have a protective style, and like not having even just like the little bit of understanding, and like me constantly having to push up leading up to the days of our departure. I got my hair done literally hours before my flight because they made the decision at the last minute. And so like that was like really hard. I styled my hair for majority of the season as the Bachelorette, like not having someone that was, you know, I don't want to say qualified, but like experienced in treating and like styling black contestants' hair. Like that is something that I'm like, that shouldn't even be a question. Like you should know, oh, I'm having a black or a woman of color lead who has, you know, different hair, like things that she needs to like take care of. And the fact that I have to advocate for that as the person is like, that's telling the whole story. So that was like an example that like in the moment, but then I guess watching it back, like, I mean, one thing that was really hard for me and Dalton to watch back was our final like meet the parent moment, and the way that they had packaged Dalton to be kind of like leading up to the stereotype, even though like we knew like at the point, if you had watched my season, that Dalton probably was going to be the one. And like my parents both gave, you know, Dalton their blessing. They didn't show any of that. They like showed the parts where like my mom hadn't even met him yet, but they were asking certain questions to kind of get these responses and then only highlight that. So that was hard. But you know, in the grand scheme of it, like I want to say that they are learning and they're trying, but I think watching, like I said, Jen's finale and all of her season back, it makes me it makes me feel like it's not it's just doing what it needs to do for that moment, but not in terms of like completely changing.
What about your experience? How do you feel about the way that your journey was packaged on the show?
Oh my god.
Breathe.
Can I take a sip of this?
Yeah, please. Yes.
Mine was a little different. Well, overall, I am extremely grateful for the experience. Like, just to set the precedent there, because it has brought in so much like love and light to my life and to myself and my family and everything around me. But as far as like, you know, how it was aired, how it was done, I don't agree with it. There was a lot of things that I started to notice in the beginning, kind of like this weird theme of like, while you're in the moment, they're hyping you up about like, oh, I can't wait for, you know, this to be shown because it's gonna be like, I can just see it now, like Twitter is gonna be so excited, like that you're like standing for men, blah, 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 because I was fired up about somebody and I was letting them know. But there were so many things that led up to that moment that obviously you're like, obviously they're gonna show it. And they didn't. So then it just kind of like creates this narrative of, you know, oh, she's just a mad, like angry girl, whatever. I was fully an authentic myself, but as we know, people have different layers, they're multifaceted, and like I definitely have that fiery side, but that was kind of the only thing I think was shown And that's fine. It makes good TV. It's entertaining, but
She was good TV.
Yes, she was.
like, so some people were like, "Oh my God, how dare you talk about kissing with tongue?" Like, oh, I'm like, please.
Turn the TV
No,
off.
literally, like, then, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I get it's ABC, but please. So, like, it wasn't that serious in the grand scheme of like all the different reality TV shows, but I just think that there was a narrative to be said because it's a little bit easier to be edited. And if I were a little bit more present in the moment and didn't take things as seriously and I was just like having fun, I probably would have seen that. And then watching it back, I was able to like see where things were just like, it's just easier, right? To just edit because that's what is the most, I guess, prominent area. But there was just a lot of things that were omitted. From my perception, is like protecting the men. And that's where I get like, then I started going on a dive of like, wow, this is like a lot of women like going through this. And then I looked back on other seasons and like, it usually is that way. And a lot of people don't like want to stand with the woman because like, let's say the girl were to, like I did choose myself, but then I got hate for that. So it's just
you can never win.
You can never win. So no matter what's chosen or what's like shown, it all comes down to like how it's perceived from the fans or the culture at the time. I did end up with somebody that wasn't my person in the long run, but totally like grateful for that experience in itself. It was hard though.
Yeah.
You guys must feel kind of excited now with the podcast then because you're in control of the edit and in the driver's seat,
and
which must feel very refreshing.
Yeah.
Because now you both have had the experience of like, I'm living my authentic life, but it's not being portrayed that way. But now you guys are able to. Is that kind of one of the reasons why you, besides obviously the connection, just being able to kind of tell your story and know how it's going to be told?
Yeah, I think it comes from our story, but also like making it just more aware that it's not just us that are experiencing it. There's so many different people that are going through similar things from different platforms. And I mean, we even just saw her from the Simone Biles documentary. Like she experienced the same kind of hate. Literally. And it's just like, can we just all like tap into the nonsense? Like it's crazy. Like can we, because it really needs to be adjusted. Like we are in 2024 and like I think that this is not a way that we need to continue living life. Like let's be a little, like live a life based on love and inclusivity and not so divided and what you actually think a person is because of your own unhealed wounds.
Yeah.
That's really hot and like super intense, but like I've just been over it. Like
and like
it's crazy.
Yeah, like I feel like one of the main roots or like factors for this that's causing this is like obviously social media and like everything is like easily accessible, but like people are so quick to go with like whatever the majority is without even having context of like full context of what the situation is, and that is like where a lot of the problems like stem from. And I, like you said, the Simone Biles thing, like she honestly even went through the same like similar experience that I did on Dancing with the Stars, which is crazy, but it's just like people have these like internal biases. They're not reflecting on that. They're not taking time to examine that, and then they just lead with that, and then they're quick to type on social media. They don't understand that words hold so much power. They're quick to say, oh, like you're a bully, or like you act this way, but it's like in turn you go back and you do the same thing. So like it's none of it's adding up. So we just want to like, you know, bring a space, bring an awareness to all of that, and
give people an opportunity to show who they are so that they're not so misunderstood. Now there's gonna still be people that see that, twist it to whatever they need to,
and that's fine.
That's fine.
Tap out.
Tap out.
Bye.
Correct.
But at the end of the day, I hope that there is enough to be like, oh, okay, like maybe this is coming from this place, like you know, and we can make change.
Like,
and it's probably gonna feel like such a relief to get these things off of your chest. I know for you, Charity, you just spoke about your experience on Dancing with the Stars and how it impacted your mental health, which was so surprising because kind of like you said, I would have figured that doing The Bachelor and The Bachelorette would have been way harder.
That was everyone. That was my
Because I bet after having maybe even that like finale experience with the hair, you were like, oh, I'm gonna do Dancing with the Stars, and it's gonna be lighter, brighter, and better. And then you get on the dance floor, and it's the darkest place you've ever been.
I will say, like the show in itself, like it was never really production. Well. Part, but like the show, like I had a good show experience, but it was just obviously like the whole social media, how I was perceived by that fan base. So coming from Bachelor, which we know is like a very conservative fan base, like going into Dancing with the Stars, that's why I had that expectation of like, oh, it's going to be, if not, like it can't get worse than Bachelor. And that fan base like definitely was not perceived. And like each week, just like trying to hang on and like constantly being like attacked and like getting like I said, I mentioned getting death threats. Like that was such a bizarre and like made me feel so out of place, and it was just hard because the experience in itself is already just so rigorous, and it's like, this is the last thing I need on top of that. And so and then I think obviously like how my packages were just like, you know, edited, because we have 30 seconds to work with, but it's like, these are the 30 seconds that we're choosing to show of me, when there's so much more things that I like had in rehearsal to work with. And it's like, why is Charity like only being highlighted this way apart from her cast members?
How would you describe the way that you were highlighted on the show?
So like one of the main, like, I guess, critiques that I got from the fan base was that I was like incredibly conceited. I was, excuse me, I don't know if I can curse, but I can. I was like the biggest bitch. I was like super mean to everybody else. I never like gave respect or credit to my pro Artem at the time. Like, it was all about me. So it made me like kind of highlight like, oh, she just thinks she's too good. And I'm like, I'm sorry that my work ethic is it's being showcased, because I do have a strong work ethic. I'm confident in myself. If you're intimidated by that, that's fine, but don't project that in the comments. That's something you need to deal with. So that became this narrative, and it carried, when I say like probably around like week 5, like it went on up into the finale, like just each week it got worse and worse and worse. And I finally had to like obviously tell Artem about it, because he didn't even have a clue. And just like the fact that I'm like, you guys are leaving certain comments up under the social pages. Y'all aren't like filtering. Like, I should also have to tell you how to run a social media page. Like this is
the theme
crazy.
of your life.
Exactly.
Literally, the president of a major network.
Correct.
I don't think so. At least.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
So it's just like things like that, which became so hard and so challenging. So it just became really hard.
So when you brought it to the producer's attention that, hey, like that these comments are a little crazy, can we filter them? They say,
it's one of those things where it's like, it's quick to get like dismissed, of like, don't like, you know, like everyone's quick to say, well,
they're
don't read, like don't read, they're haters, or don't read the comments. And it's like, you're not getting it. It's not just like, don't look at it. It's like, it's on y'all's page. I can filter mine, and I did, but like to the point where even me doing that, I was still getting like messages of like you, like, I just won't say it, but like bad things, you know? So.
And I think there's a responsibility to be had, like, on not just the people who are running the page, but on social media platforms in general. Like, if you're going to give access to these many individuals, then they should have some type of restrictions and boundaries in which that they could play in. Yeah, we can go in and change the words and stuff, but like anybody who's been in the thick of it, there is absolutely no escaping it. Yeah. And that's all you hear, that's all you think.
And because it's when they leave the comments up, people can see that, oh, I can get away with it.
Correct. Too. So then there's like, you see one comment, and then someone who feels confident enough to be like, oh, I'm just going to go and do the same thing.
Did you have, because obviously you couldn't lean on production during that time, I mean, I know it's a competition show, so it's hard, but were you able to lean on any of the people you were on the show with?
Yeah, I was pretty close with the final people that remained, like Ariana, like Sochi. Harry at that point I think had gone home. Love you, Harry. But like I was able to talk about it, but even Allison was like my mom on the show, so she was really sweet about it. But like I never really truly dove into it, because I'm like, I don't want to also like feel like I'm creating a burden for someone else, and that was like something I had to deal with on my own. So.
When you alerted Artem, did it seem like there wasn't, like he wanted to help you? Like, because he stepped
like,
in and told
he
producer.
He definitely did, and he was like really, I think he was more shocked than anything, because he was like, wait a minute, he was like, this is going on, or like this is what's being said. He's like, I don't understand, and I get it, because it's like, he is someone who's just about work, professional, like doesn't have time for all the social media stuff, and obviously you see that, but like, I think him not understanding, I was like, this is like, it's too far gone at this point, so.
And obviously he was able to step in with that, and you guys had a more so working relationship, but have you been in touch with him anytime soon? Because of course he has a lot coming out now, a lot of speculation after that. Have you reached out to him? Are you keeping your distance? Or?
I have not. I just want to, give them time and privacy. Yeah, because
I feel, like you said, you mainly was in the professional space. Yeah. But did all this news, was it kind of just, did it take you back? Were you kind of like, where is this coming from? A
little bit, I like, it kind of hit me blindsided a little bit. Wasn't expecting it at all, but I will say, like, I mean, obviously I don't know any details or anything, so just, again, giving them the space, but
sending them
all the
well
love,
wishes and love, and
Healing.
good vibes, especially to Nikki. Did you ever get to meet Nikki?
I love her.
Yeah, she seems like I've never met her, but she seems like a really good time.
Literally love her.
Love those Bella twins.
Yeah.
She's so much fun. Now, obviously, you did Dancing with the Stars. You guys have done Bachelor Nation. Are there any other reality shows you'd be interested in, like The Traitors? Like, that's kind of fun. Or are you like done
Kat
with
needs to go
reality
in
TV?
House of Villains. I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Wait, no, that's a compliment.
Wait, yeah.
Colin and Teresa Giudice. I don't know.
Okay, so I almost did, but I was literally about like did all the casting, whatever, and they wanted me to start right when I moved to California at the time, and like I was starting my new job and everything, but like at heart I'm a nurse practitioner, like I'm a nurse, and like that's what I like care about. That's my career. I'm not a reality TV star, and that's what I also coming off of Paradise, like I was still like a breakup, everything, because it was like I think February was when they needed the filming, and Paradise's finale ended in December. And so I didn't really want my like narrative to the world to be like a villain. Right? And it looked cute, it looked fun, whatever, but like overall, like I needed to prioritize my mental health and like my like lifestyle, and like, kind of just like get myself back and find my sense of self again, because I lost it long before that. So it seemed cute and fun, but I don't think I would like. That's just like that's just like not really on brand for me. But I will say, I Love New York. Like I was like, oh please, I watched that as a kid, so I was like, no way.
That's why I give you respect for turning it down, because I would just want to be in a room with her. I'm like, please destroy me.
Literally like roast me. I'm honored.
But I do, because you do injections. Like that's kind of close to reality TV, because you know, how do you like? Because obviously you are pro at that. How do you feel about like injection culture on reality shows? Because we see a lot, especially because we do a lot of Housewives topics, like a season 1 to a season 5. There's a lot of progressions. How do you kind of like? Do you love that like vibe? Do you think people should go slow and steady? Like, what's the energy with that?
I just think that like if you're doing it based on your anatomy and like what's going to look best for you, and do it tastefully, it shouldn't make you look older. And unfortunately, depending on the culture or the environment or the city that you're living in, like that is beautiful. Like that's a pretty look. So like, for example, in Florida, South Florida has a little bit of a different look than Tampa, and they just have their different niches. But if that's what you're around, then that's what you're gonna think is beautiful. So same thing with like your TikTok is like all these girls or guys that look a certain way. And you like see it and you're like, oh my God, they're so pretty. You're gonna want to look like that. So like my practice is like I look at you as a whole and what I think is gonna look best on you, and doing it in a tasteful way, and safely, you should never look older, like ever. Like if I posted my before and afters, and it's scary because I looked older when I was younger. So it really is just about, and also ethnicity. It's magic. Ethnicity too. Like it's different in the way that like our genes are and our collagens are, and like the way that our anatomy is also even a little bit. So it really just goes from like going to a trusted person who's going to take that time.
Are we going to delve a little bit into this on the podcast, do you think?
Oh,
like
for
injections
sure.
and plastic surgery.
Absolutely. Because then there's like that struggle of body image and beauty standards and everything that comes with that, and like skinny culture and everything. And like as an injector, I kind of have this like weird like internal like argument with myself of like I don't want to go with the beauty standards. I want to go with like your beauty standard, like your potential, because it's hard.
Is there a procedure that you feel, or like a moment that people come to you so much for, that you're like, why is everyone obsessed with this, and you don't need it? Like maybe like an overrated procedure that everyone I know you said it's like basically
there's so
different.
many. It depends on what's going on. Masseter right now, Masseter Botox is big.
It's like
for your
lip filler.
That's in the jaw.
That's in the jaw.
Lip filler.
I feel like lip filler is like
lip filler is always good. Like now there's a certain like niche of lip filler, like the Russian lip, like whatever.
I see that on TikTok.
Yeah,
are we a
TikTok.
fan of the Russian situation?
No, I do a spiel on it where I do it in the top and then a little bit on the bottom, but then you fan on the rest. That's like injector top.
That's a technique.
That's a recipe.
But like I'm not gonna sit here and tent your lip all the way up. Like it's gonna migrate. It's gonna look weird. But it just really depends. Like and now like the Nefertiti neck lift, like that stuff, which I love. I've been doing that forever.
I don't know anything about that. Do I need it?
It's all Botox, and it's all Botox too. So so it just really depends on like honestly what social media is, but staying like up to date with standards and still making sure that you're not going with the trends, you're going with what's safe. Then like that's what matters. But a lot of people come in wanting under eye filler, and I'm like, you don't need that.
Don't do it.
I'm like, you actually probably need some mid-face filler and maybe like a little bit of cheek lift, or let's just do like a biostimulator that's going to save your collagen over time. So yeah.
Where were you for him a year ago?
Hey, we all live and learn. Listen, we've all had to go through it. Like I've gone through my own.
You have a podcast listener.
Yeah, I know, seriously.
Yes, but also like I never want women or men to feel like they have to fit a specific mold that they need to look like you know, like based on what society is saying you should or shouldn't be, you know, like that's why the lips got so big at one point, because all the Kardashians were doing it. It's just like, what is your face, what is your anatomy going to make you look the more tasteful aging, so that way you can just like age gracefully. And
it really should be personal. Like Charity, I applaud you when you opened up about your breast augmentation.
Truly.
You were very open and honest, and you said, "This is for me. This
it
is for no one else but me."
I just would never.
Always is.
Yeah, it is, and it was something that I think people like also thought it was like a quick decision. It's like the biggest critique I also got was like, oh, like. She went on the Bachelorette and she's like, oh, now she thinks she like needs to go like do all this plastic surgery. I'm like, I actually thought about this decision. I took like my the care of like my doctor. Like I researched like making sure like I was in good hands, but also like I wanted this for a long time, and like that I knew was not just gonna be like an overnight decision. And so like I'm gonna make the best choice for myself. And I think like what Kat was saying is just like doing and knowing what's best for your body, and like not also like being afraid of like obviously like other people's opinions. And that was like for me why I was so open and transparent about it, because I'm like, who cares? Like it's 2024. Let's stop like critiquing other people and their choices on their body. Like stop judging people's bodies.
And you probably got a lot of girls in your DM saying like, wow, thank you for
literally
being open and honest.
thank you, and like asking for like, you know, the sizing, because I didn't go too like crazy with it. Like 'cause
there's like a stigma around
it. It is. It really is.
Information is power.
And I'm like, if you want to critique me on like doing any of the things, well then I'm gonna need you to stop wearing eyeliner, stop dyeing your hair,
what I'm saying.
don't
like,
shave your legs.
You wanted to dye your hair red.
Like those are all augmentations that you're making on a daily basis to fit a specific like look. Then this is my way of doing it, and it's a version of self-care.
Yeah.
That's
well, I feel like this chat has been our version of self-care.
Yeah,
we love catching
I
up
got
with
you
you.
always.
We're so excited to tap in.
Yes,
Please.
we're gonna be
tap in, pick up the phone.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys. We're so excited. I appreciate you guys for having us here too.
Yeah, thank you.